It's the new Insta360 camera, the One RS. Haha!
Meet the Insta360 One RS, Insta360's newest action and 360 camera hybrid, and the first follow-up camera to 2020's Insta360 One R. The One RS is similar to the original One R and the GoPro Hero 10 in many ways. However, it does have some cool things that make it stand out slightly. The first one being, call it a feature or not, is the price. It's $299 US, making it $50 cheaper than the GoPro Hero 10 Black when you pick up a GoPro subscription. For the 4K and 360 lenses though, it's $549. And I feel like it's important that we start with the price just so you can manage your expectations a little bit. Taking a look at it up close, and you've probably noticed that it looks identical to the previous Insta360 One R. That's because it is. Again, they've gone with the modular design with the red battery on the bottom. This time it's slightly bigger than the previous One R, but not that much. And it disassembles exactly the same way as last time. You remove the battery, then separate the lens from the core, attach a new lens to the core. Here I've got the 360 lens, and voila. So again, just like last time, this is two cameras in one. It's a 360 camera as well as an action camera. So what's new? Well, both of these parts. So apparently the core, aka the camera module, has been improved since last time in small ways. One extra feature of this core is instant zoom, where you can basically go from a wide perspective to a narrow one by zooming in through the screen. Next, they've added this 4K boost lens, which is the standard lens you get when you buy the camera. While I guess you could think of it as a standard action camera lens, it does have two advantages. The first one is this lens allows you to shoot in a 6K widescreen video at a 2.35:1 aspect ratio, which technically makes this camera a 6K camera. I mean, being able to capture 6K widescreen video is super useful. You can use it in situations like, where you might need 6K widescreen video. Jokes aside, that is technically a pro, since I'm sure some people will have some kind of use for it. So 6K widescreen is exclusive to the 4K lens, as is Active HDR. And what Active HDR is it's essentially inbuilt HDR video that can be used in any type of situation, including shaky handheld shots. I took a whole bunch of clips using Active HDR, including the first shot of this video and many others, and I've got to say I'm very impressed with the dynamic range of these videos. I tried pushing it to the limits here, putting the sun directly behind my head, as well as shooting in high contrast scenes, but every time the footage wasn't ruined by overexposure and lens flares under any circumstance. In my opinion, aside from the price, Active HDR is one of the best features of the One RS. Those shots look good, and if you're someone that likes shooting handheld a lot, you won't have to worry about whether your shot is properly exposed or not. It always will be if you use Active HDR mode. Except if you're in low light, they recommend that you shoot during the daytime only with Active HDR. For those of you who bought the original One R and are wondering whether these two cameras can be rebuilt using each other's parts, the answer is yes. You can use your old 360 lens and your old Leica 1-inch lens with the One RS. The only thing that isn't cross-compatible is the new 4K boost lens, which is exclusive to the One RS, at least at the moment. Now, how does the One RS compare to the One R spec-wise? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but it's almost identical. So the vast majority of photo and video specs are identical from the One R to the One RS, aside from 6K widescreen video and still photo resolution, which is 48 megapixels, which admittedly is pretty impressive for a little action camera. I just don't know why you'd use an action camera for photos when you've got a phone. Here I took the exact same photo with the One RS and my iPhone 13 Pro Max, and the One RS definitely looks sharper there. Those roof tiles are not clean, but they are crispy. So if you were in a situation where you needed high quality images and you didn't have your phone handy, like in some sports situations, then the One RS is going to deliver great results. To give you the actual video specs of the One RS, if you're shooting with a 4K boost lens, you can shoot anywhere from 1920 by 1080 from 24 up to 200 frames per second, all the way up to 6016 by 2560, aka 6K at 25 FPS. With the 360 lens, you can shoot 3K at 100 frames per second, up to 5.7K at 30 frames per second. To my 360 brothers and sisters out there, I'm sorry. We were expecting more than this, but we've got the same 360 specs as the last few camera releases. And it's good, don't get me wrong, we should be grateful. It's 5.7K, that's cool, and you can edit it on a phone, and the end result looks good, but the same specs, like 3 or 4 cameras in a row. Can we not change that up a bit? Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe it's hard to create a small handheld 6K, 7K, 8K 360 camera, but unfortunately no 360 upgrade with the One RS. So this is primarily an upgrade only on the action camera side of things. Moving on to the 1-inch wide angle lens, and you can shoot anywhere from 1920 by 1080 from 24 to 120 FPS, all the way up to 5.4K at 30 FPS. Again, it's a lot of resolution. It looks good, but it's practically the same as what we had last time with the One R. To lighten the mood, here's a silly slow motion shot I took with said camera, shot at 200 FPS at 1920 by 1080. That's a fun shot, and the slow-mo mode is absolutely legit. There are many other ways that the One RS is similar to the original One R, including the fact that it's waterproof, it does live streaming in normal video as well as 360 video, and you can use it as a webcam. Something they did add to the One RS is built-in flow state stabilization. So instead of having to shoot, stabilize in the app or desktop software, then export to either your phone or computer, it basically does it all automatically. I will say as a 360 shooter that the inbuilt HDR video mode is getting really good. Here I am with the One RS on a selfie stick, walking it almost like I'm walking a dog, and that dynamic range is seriously good. I'm super happy with that shot, and there's not that much overexposure. And I really do think that 360 is a massive strength of Insta360, obviously because it's in their name, but there's no denying the video quality has improved vastly over time since they released their first camera, the Insta360 Nano, about 4 or 5 years ago. As usual, you can use the One RS for new Shotlab effects, where they have very easy to understand tutorials. You follow the prompts and it automatically creates a cool effect within the app. They've added an additional mic to the One RS, so there's basically a mic, if you can see those little holes, on every side of the core, which means they are making an effort to improve the audio quality. In fact, they've even created this new mounting bracket where you put the camera in and it naturally acts as a wind protector.
Hi everyone, this is Mr. Ben vlogging from the side of a major intersection. I have 2 questions. Firstly, how does this look? Secondly, how does this sound? Because it's very noisy in real life. So I'm wondering if the extra mic added to the One RS makes any difference.
There are other new accessories like a mic adapter and an accessory shoe if you want to record sound directly into the One RS using external sound recording equipment. So I was curious about how the video quality compared between the One R and the One RS. So I used the same 1-inch mod with both cameras, hence why they don't sync up. But looking at this unedited 5.3K footage, and I can't pick them apart. Can you? I think I can pretty confidently say that the video quality from both cameras is identical, aside from active HDR mode, which again is only available with a 4K boost lens. So should you upgrade to this from this or this? I'm gonna say no. The camera is so similar to the previous 2 Insta360 releases that it's not a big enough of a jump to justify buying a brand new camera to do a lot of the stuff you can already do on those 2 cameras. I'd absolutely upgrade to the One RS if you're switching from a GoPro and you want to shoot more 360, or you're switching from an older 360 camera and you're ready for something new and modern that offers the best technology of the time, because I do think this is technically the best consumer 360 camera available right now under like $600, but it's not enough to justify an upgrade if you've already got something similar. By the way, there are heaps of different ways you can buy this camera, so many different combinations of parts. So I'll link the Insta360 store below so you can see all the different options when it comes to purchasing this camera. So is the One RS a big upgrade? No, it's not, but it is a small upgrade. I think Insta360 are slowly becoming more and more like GoPro, where every new camera they release isn't 50% better, it's more like 5 to 10% better. Something that I do think helps get this number up is the fact that Insta360 are constantly updating the firmware and software to do with their cameras to add more percentages to that. So if it starts 5% better, over the next 12 months, no doubt they'll add brand new firmware that gives the camera new capabilities, new modes, as well as reducing, if not eliminating, the problems that people will eventually discover with it to eventually get close to 20% better. So from my experience, that's usually something you can count on when purchasing an Insta360 camera. And again, I do think the majority of the upgrade with this camera is for action camera users over 360 camera users. It does have a lot of those cool new features that action camera users would definitely get value out of. It also has the advantage over GoPro of modularity. Instead of being just one fixed action camera, it's two cameras in one. Whereas with GoPro, they've got the GoPro Hero 10 Black and the GoPro Max. So if you wanted to shoot 360 and action shots, you'd need two separate cameras. Looking at the specs of the new GoPro though, it does have a few things over the One RS, including higher frame rates on similar video resolution. I haven't used the Hero 10 Black yet, but no doubt it's good. GoPro makes good cameras. And this concludes my first video about the Insta360 One RS. No doubt I missed a whole bunch of things, so if there's anything you want to know, let me know down in the comments, and also be sure to make follow-up videos covering some of the best and worst features of this camera. Comment below your thoughts on the Insta360 One RS, yay or nay, and I'll catch you later.